Just a minute. Hey everybody, man. This is Aaron Entertainment. Bring you. It's all about wrestling. Episode 26. I'm glad you could join me. As you see, I'm not really wearing any wrestling clothing. I'm wearing Leaf stuff, a Leaf hat, Leaf shirt, because the Leafs playoff game 4 is tonight, and I just got a notification. A very important package just came in to me. And you know what? I'll get it later. But it's actually very important. I'll show on my Thursday show what it's about. It is kind of wrestling related, but I don't. I live in the condo and I have to go downstairs and get out. And it could take me 5 to 10 minutes, and I don't want to waste my time with you. Don't want to leave you guys. But yeah, so it's all about wrestling episode 26. And in my description below, guys, we got a lot of things to talk about. We got some releases today. Big release. We'll talk about the AEW's Ultimate Warriors bio, the documentary. We'll talk about the Icons documentary by WWE Network and RVD. We'll talk about the latest Dark Side of the Ring, WCW Collision in North Korea, Hell in a Cell. We'll talk about some NXT releases last week, some big names released there. We'll definitely talk about the wrestling review. We'll talk about John Cena, the controversy of John Cena. As I said, the releases today, big one, Adnan Virk. We'll talk about NXT predictions. There's a title match tonight, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross. I'll give you my prediction tonight. But yeah, if you hear a phone ringing, it's probably the concierge to let me know that a package has been delivered. So if I disappear for a bit, it's because I have a package. Something I have to go get my package. Hey Josh. No, okay. So okay. Only about, not even 2 months in. Maybe 2 months in. WWE has released, not released, they agreed upon. Mutual release, mutual let go. Adnan Virk and WWE, they mutually agreed to part ways as of today. Now, I do like Adnan Virk. I watch him on the baseball stuff and the ESPN stuff, whatever. I knew him from the days he's Canadian. I knew him from the days working in Canada for the Canadian television. And he got, heavily recognizable. And of course, he got his job at WWE, lead commentator for Raw, hired by Nick Khan, who works for WWE. Suggested him, okay. After WrestleMania, he was the lead announcer for Raw. And okay, first week passed, right? Second week passed. Third week, it was becoming quite clear. This wasn't his forte. This is not him being a lead announcer for Raw. Did not suit him. I'm like, yeah, this is not his thing. Lead announcer for Raw. It's very different than sports. Being a lead announcer for Raw is very different than being a lead announcer for sports. It's just not his thing. Yeah, Josh, it's been today. If you check on wrestling news, they mutually parted away. And I'm like, I think it was not fair to Adnan Virk. I honestly don't think it was his fault because I think they put him in a position to fail right away as a lead announcer on Raw, because that's a tough position. They should have made him more of a slowly easing him into that role. Have him as a side, a backstage interview, or somebody leading Raw talk, SmackDown talk, something like that. A kid at Braxton role, Charlie Cruz with that new guy's role, something like that. Then as sometimes, but here's the thing with all the announcers, they have their own quotes, they have their own sayings. Not all the time, but most of the time, yeah. It's just the delivery is not good. But they should slowly ease him in, and I did like, I don't know why you got rid of Tom Phillips to talk about that role. Tom Phillips is excellent for that role. They groomed Tom Phillips into that role, and it worked. Tom Phillips was good in that role. And you remember the time when Renee Paquette or Renee Young was the third wheel of the Raw commentary team, and because people couldn't stand her, right? Because they put her in a position. They put her in a position to fail. Renee Paquette as a third wheel. Yeah, I agree with you. Two-man moves work well. I agree. And Renee Paquette was a third wheel with the commentary of Corey Graves and Michael Cole. But if you put Renee Paquette as an interviewer or a leading host, she's better as a lead. Renee Paquette was better as a lead. Adnan Virk was not good as a lead announcer for Raw. But other things he's good at. He's on MLB Central and stuff. But yeah, so they mostly part ways, and I think they both definitely Adnan Virk. He probably felt like, yeah, this isn't working. And WWE knows that too. This isn't working. I mean, they put him right away as a lead announcer. Look at the past lead announcers for wrestling. In past years, JR was always a good lead announcer because he knew the wrestling business, right? Michael Cole learned on the fly. Michael Cole, when he was hired, was not a lead announcer, but he learned. Tom Phillips, same thing. It takes time to become a lead announcer. It takes time. They should slowly ease him in that role, get him comfortable, and then he gets more comfortable in the business, he becomes a lead announcer. But this wasn't it. This is just not his forte. Calling wrestling was not his forte. And Beth, yeah, she's cringy, but Ray Barrett's good. But they clearly set him up to fail. And I know there's other releases today, but I don't know how big they are. Like, this is a huge release. It's like, this guy's only been lead commentator for Raw, only in WWE for what, 2 months? A month, not even 2 months. Since WrestleMania, since the Raw after WrestleMania, right? So what, 5-6 weeks? That's it? I know he made a statement today, but it set him up. It's terrible. So on a related note, let's continue talking about releases as we refer to last week's releases. We'll talk about the Velveteen Dream stuff. Definitely. That'll be first. So as you know, Velveteen Dream was released last Friday, the day after some of the other NXT cuts. Oh my god, yes they were. So Velveteen Dream was released not because they investigated the source called him interacting with adolescence, right? And he found nothing, but they released him because he had apparently backstage problems. And that's why they released him. Now, Velveteen Dream, yesterday came out with a statement on his Instagram talking about the accusations about him interacting with younger people. And it was very long and detailed about everything. And that's the way he said it. It's the kind of stuff you don't make up. I mean, you can't. Doesn't sound like the kind of the way he wrote it. Doesn't sound like he made that up, man. Because when you see some people make on statements on accusations, they don't really go into detail and stuff. And he went into long detail. And perhaps he might be innocent. Perhaps he's innocent in that, or perhaps he's not. But you know what? After reading that, it got me thinking. Maybe he's telling his side of the story, the truth. I don't know. But he's gone, and if that stuff is true, what he said was true, and his proves innocence. Backstage stuff is true, and he's innocent on the accusations about him interacting with minors. If he's proven true on that, he's a big loss, because that guy was so damn popular in NXT. He was they were calling him the next big star coming out of NXT to join the main roster. And if any company would be lucky to have, any company will go after him, they require a major star that they can build around. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's bullshit. You don't go that much detail. You don't make up that much detail without a lot of stuff. I see a lot of people make statements on accusations, and nowhere close as detail on that. And now it's very detailed. And when you read something in detail like that, either he's very, very clever, and he can lie about that in a clever way, or he's telling the truth. So that was the big one. Now we got some other releases. Alexander Wolf has been released. Kid of Imperium. He's been released. His contract was up, so they decided, you know what, we'll release him, we'll pay him off. Jessamine Duke. Jessamine Duke's been released, but she's still going to work on Up, Up, Down, and she has her own channel, so she's still technically kind of WWE, just not in the wrestling aspect of it, I guess. I don't know. Kat Via Davi, I think is her name, an Indian wrestler. She's been released. She's been stuck in India. The only time we've seen her was in the Mae Young Classic. Who else? I talked about the referees. Skylar Scory, now really known as Brandy Lawrence, released. We haven't seen her much in NXT. She's only in one show or something. But she was on one of these Evolve deals that are not like 1 or 2 year deals. I don't know what the Evolve deals is, because remember, WWE did buy Evolve. Oh, it's shock. I think I just said it a minute ago. Josh, the reason he released him early is because his contract was up this month anyway. It was up, and I guess they had no intention of re-signing him. But let's get to the referees. Oh, this other guy, I forgot his name, was released. EJ something, right? Let's get to the referees. And we got this referee, Jake Clemens, has been released. No issues with him, no problems with him. But, budget cuts. There was no problems with him. But here's the big one. Drake worked. Yes. Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, Mr. Canon Theorist, Mr. Anti-Masker, Anti-Vaxxer, Mr. Racist, Mr. who's in a camp that says people were masked to harbor trafficking young people. Yeah, him. So he finally got released. It's about time. He should have been released a long time ago, but it's about time to release him. No. There's a lot of detail coming out about him and his backstage antics. Because he was a backstage problem. A lot of people didn't feel comfortable around him. He's an anti-masker, anti-vaxxer, racist. I was gonna go on. He's racist apparently. A QAnon theorist, a conspiracy theorist. At one show, he was talking to the schools about his the QAnon stuff, about how people wearing masks are harboring or trafficking young people, young kids. At a backstage at NXT show, while wearing NXT WWE gear, and people, especially minorities in the WWE and NXT, did not want to work with them. There was when I read the Fightful stuff, there was a couple instances we almost got in that he had so much heat with one of these guys who got released. When these guys got just released, this guy that just got released wanted to kick his ass so badly. There was an instance where the George Floyd stuff happened in May and June, right? And the Triple H had a meeting with NXT talent talking about tolerance for religion, color, race, sexuality, stuff like that. And he just walked out of the meeting. So yeah, he's not someone you want to be around with. Someone that's dangerous to society, in my opinion. Someone that's not well. A threat. And realistically, he should have been fired a long time ago. So, hey, cuz. And I have a friend here. He claims like I have a friend named Mannequin or Drill, right? He's very religious, very Christian-like. And Drake, this guy Drake, uses religion to justify his means. And my friend Anakin is like, no, that's not what religion teaches you. And I wish he was on to talk about that, but and you know what? He got hired to do an indie show led by Low Key, Matt Morgan, and some other guys, and those guys are pieces of shit too. I mean, Matt Morgan's organization may have ties to Matt Guys. I don't know with him, right? Matt Guys in Florida. I don't know with underage stuff. Exactly. And man, realistically, he should have been let go a long time ago, but fuck. So let's go to the documentary section of this show. So I'm gonna save Ultimate Warrior bio for last. Let's talk about icons and RVD. You know RVD, Bob Van Dam, right? ECW legend, WWE Hall of Famer. This guy was such an amazing athlete. Might have been the best wrestler ECW has ever had. Athletic as hell. But also could do karate. Cool, charisma-like. This guy was just a tremendous talent. He was put in the Hall of Fame this year. He did have his problems. He's like Matt Riddle is like RVD, where he's laid back. We're both laid back. But RVD was in ECW. He was actually WCW for a little bit. They went to ECW, and then once WWE bought ECW, they bought him over to the WWE with part of that ECW WCW invasion angle WWE. The problem is, technically he's supposed to be a heel, but he was getting cheers. RVD was not meant to be a heel. He was a babyface, clear-cut babyface, and pretty much for most of the majority of his career, he was a babyface. Oh, you haven't watched it? I suggest you watch it. Yeah, Stoner gimmick is. And his highlights of career in WWE, had a great match with Jeff Hardy. Great tag team with Kane. But his main highlight in WWE is when one Money in the Bank, he challenged John Cena for the WWE Championship at One Night Stand 2006 and an ECW arena in Philadelphia, which he won the title. And unfortunately, he lost it very quickly because him and Sabu were pulled over by the cops for being stoned and high, and having illegal marijuana in the car. And WWE punished him by taking the title off him, and I believe that title went to Edge, and I think that was in 2006. And they wanted him to be the focus point of the WWE ECW, which was not. The ECW version from WWE was terrible. It was not good. It wasn't ECW-like. Yep, that's where they buried him. Yep. And then, as I know, he had problems with his first wife, divorced his wife, and then he had depression and stuff. He really was laid back and stuff. I know he went to TNA. They didn't talk about TNA run. Twice he was in TNA, but TNA run. He met Katie Forbes to help him and get back life on track and stuff. I tell you one thing. She's never going to be hired by WWE. But he has some incredible matches with Jerry Lynn, Sabu in ECW, WWE, John Cena, Jeff Hardy. Incredible ladder match with Eddie Guerrero, late Eddie Guerrero. He was tremendous in ECW. He was the ultimate babyface. This guy, you couldn't make this guy a heel even if you tried. They tried it with the division angle, it just didn't work. It doesn't work with RVD being as a heel. This guy, his 5-star Fog Splash, I will say this. Montez's Fog Splash is the closest to RVD's in terms of height in the air. I would say RVD's splash is the best splash ever. Best splash. He could do the best splash. It was so damn good. Better than Eddie Guerrero's Fog Splash. Better than any regular splashes. And I think Montez Ford comes the closest to perfecting the splash that RVD could do. And the thing is, this guy was not just good in the ring, but he was also a hardcore wrestler. Dude, I didn't watch much ECW because I couldn't at times, but when I watched him in WWE, he was one of my favorites. And when I played the SmackDown games, I used him a lot because I just love his moveset. I love his moveset in the games and on television. This guy was so freaking awesome. Sorry, man. So yeah, let's talk about next documentary. Let's talk about. So I actually watched Nick Gage Dark Side of the Ring. I'll give my thoughts on it. I think I like his Fog Splash better than Eddie's. Because I think with Eddie's Fog Splash, a lot of people can do. With RVD's, you need so much height and elevation. And Montez Ford, It's the closest to that one. Closest to RVD's. I think RVD's Frog Splash is harder to do. Because you see a lot of people do Eddie's Frog Splash, but you don't see a lot of people doing RVD's 5-star splash. Because I think it's much harder to do. And don't get me wrong, Eddie's splash is great. It's just that a lot of people could do that version of the frog splash. RVD's is just harder to do. And Montez Ford is the closest one to be able to do it. What do you think, Josh? Do you agree with me on that? Because I think what do you think? I mean, RVD had a credible elevation in his So let's talk about the Nick. So I did watch the Nick Gage stuff. I didn't much know about Nick Gage. I knew he was a deathmatch wrestler. And this guy's a deathmatch wrestler, the king of deathmatches. He wrestled John Moxley. I don't know, man. This guy is nuts. I don't know how he's alive. But I didn't think he was I would think he was when I heard about this, I'm like, oh, this guy's not a nice guy. He's not a very good person. But I'm like, when I got from the documentary, even though he did go to jail because he robbed a bank, I didn't take away from this like he's a bad person. I just think he's a deathmatch wrestler, and maybe he did little things too far, especially with the pizza cutter, especially in the mouth of Moxley and David Arquette. David Arquette did not specifically said, "Do not do that. Do not do that." What I take away from this, he's not a bad person. He had a lot of tragedy in his life, so. But he's not a bad person. I mean, he lost his mother, his father, his brother committed suicide. We're by the bridge that's very close where he lives. I mean, he even said when he comes outside, he sees that bridge where his brother committed suicide. That's hard. That's hard. Person. The only person that stuck by him was his girlfriend. And you know what? I thought I was gonna be like, yeah, I did feel sorry for her. I thought I was gonna go in this bio, this doc, feeling pissed off, mad, like angry for this guy. I didn't feel that way. I felt actually sorry for him. And now, let's get on to the one last week. The collision in North Korea. This is when WCW in '95 went to North Korea. Yes, the communist country of North Korea. And I hope they're not watching the stream. So this is kind of funny. If you don't know, this legendary wrestler in Japan, Inoki. He had in the 70s, he had a exhibition kind of thing with boxing legend Muhammad Ali. Yeah. The thing is, ECW, even though it was hardcore, ECW has some great talent in ECW. I mean, look at we just mentioned RVD, ECW. RVD was great talent. They had guys who could go in the ring that don't necessarily need to be hardcore. In fact, a lot of WCW wrestlers, not on the heavyweight side, but Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Jericho, I think Benoit, yeah. Whatever. Some of the guys came from ECW. Taz. Yeah. So Inoki in Japan had and Muhammad Ali went to set up a thing in North Korea for peace or something, right? In relations to for Japan and North Korea to have a better relations, because North Korea despises Japan and Japanese people because of what Japan did in World War II, occupying North Korea. So they really have a hatred for, and they have a hatred for Americans too. Don't get me wrong, even though America was fighting against the Japanese in World War II, North Korea hated both sides. Hated both sides because America, well, they went to war in North Korea, right? North Korean War and stuff. So they have no love for both sides. But Inoki was actually loving North Korea, and I'll tell you why. So Inoki, this with New Japan and WCW, went to North Korea. Eric Bischoff didn't even tell his bosses, he admitted it. And some of the wrestlers ran like Too Cold Scorpio, Scott Norton, Ric Flair. Yeah, man. We're going to discuss some stuff. Hawk, the Steiner brothers, Benoit. They all went. And when they went there, the Korean government took away their passports, escorted them to their hotel rooms. They each had a handler, and they couldn't basically leave anybody's sight. So when they're in their hotel rooms, they each had guards guarding their doors, right? And I'll tell you about the Scott Norton stuff. And there were some incidents where Scorpio and Hawk got into fights because Ric Flair usually rides with Hawk, but this time Hawk didn't ride with Ric Flair. Hawk rolled with the bus, and as the Scorpio and Hawk got into a fight, Scott Norton had called his wife. Here's the thing. Called his wife and said shithole of a country. And after that, his wife thought he was partying, but he explained the stuff and he said shithole of a country. And then after that, silence on the phone. The guards opened up the door, knocked on his door. He opened up, and somebody else came when they higher up. They told him to follow him. They went to their interrogation room. So they wiretap. They wiretap your phones in your hotel room. That's what they do there. And they warned him not to say anything bad about North Korea. And he said in the interrogation, he said because Inoki got him out of it, because Scott Norton said if Inoki wasn't able to get him out of there, he thought he'd be dead. They would have murdered him right there. And the North Korean government had North Korean government, my guy was NWO. He was strong, man. He was a strong guy. And North Korean government had them do respect a North Korean, I'm sorry, like a North Korean legend, I don't know, with flowers and stuff. And then when they got to the arena, like Eric Bischoff went on a jog, and all of them were staring at them because they don't get many Americans. Like the people were staring at them. He goes back to his room, and his handler was giving him shit because Bischoff was afraid that for letting him do that she was gonna get killed. That they would execute her for that. North Korea is like shut off from the rest of the world. That's what the is basically saying. And really? Yeah. Thank you for your service, though. I mean, this must have been. This was after 9/11, right? Was this after 9/11? Because Bin Laden, they went to Afghanistan because Bin Laden was there or something, right? Okay, yeah. And the reason Inoki was well liked in North Korea is because he was trained by this legendary wrestler named Ricky Dozan. Now Ricky Dozan hid a secret in Japan. Everybody thought he was Japanese, but no, he was born in North Korea. But apparently, when that got revealed, he was killed by the Yakuza, the Japanese version of the mafia. And he was a legend in North Korea. That's why in Japan, they respected Inoki even though he was Japanese. And he had a match with Flair. Flair was clearly the heel. And the crowd, they had the largest crowd of any wrestling event. But here's the thing. They were not paid. No gate. You know what happened? Was it Scott Norton? I forgot who it was. I think it was Scott Norton said, look how many fans are coming. And then one person says, they were forced to come. They were forced to go. They tricked the world. It was North Korean propaganda. The North Korean propaganda. They wanted to make the world think they're in peace, but they were advocating for peace. And that's the propaganda they were trying to show the world there. And they had a CNN guy do the coverage there. And Inoki was a heel, and Ric Flair was like, Ric Flair's a passionate wrestler, but when he was there, they didn't interview him, but some of the wrestlers that were there said Ric Flair had no passion. So after the event, they're lucky they survived. They got their passports. They went back to Japan, and Ric Flair was like the first one off the plane. Yeah, the Yukaza story is scary. Ric Flair was all came off the plane, and he kissed the pavement, the gravel of the airport. He got his spark back. Like he was... Oh my god. I don't know what Bischoff was trying to show there, man. I don't know what they're trying to do. Meaning, yeah. And the Japanese and American government warned him not to go. Yeah, it's all a show, right? It's all a show there. Do you have any communism? That's what they did with that show. It's Korean propaganda. That's all it was. And Inoki was a politician too. So was a politician, right? Him and Muhammad Ali, they tried to make peace, but you know what? It's hard to make peace with communists. And I kind of hate Americans and Japanese. It's still probably like that. But that's crazy. It's like, and you would think, and now people have issues with WWE going to Saudi Arabia, right? Especially when they went to Saudi Arabia after the time 2018 when that journalist was mysteriously murdered or killed, right? Visiting an office or something, right? Remember that in 2018? And people were criticizing on WWE for going there. Taking blood money. It was crazy as hell, man. I mean, like, oh my god. And Matt Jarbo was joking. I was watching some part of Matt Jarbo's stream, and he had RJ on. Josh, RJ, and Matt Jarbo had a stream, right? Matt Jarbo says he wanted to visit North Korea to see the scenery. Okay, I'm sure it's nice, the scenery, but they're gonna. I put in the chat, like, they're gonna wiretap your phone. They're gonna take away your passport. They're gonna follow you everywhere, and you probably won't make it back. Because Matt Jarbo's very outspoken, right? Jarbo's very outspoken. The scenery is great, right? The scenery can be great, but that's fool's gold, man. That's just fool's gold. And I do remember that movie when The Interview with James Franco. With James Franco and Seth Rogen, The Interview movie, remember? That got banned in theaters because of the controversial thing with the North Korean tank. And they went, and I saw that movie. It was hilarious. So I like that movie. I did like that movie. All right. So let's get to the first before we get to main bio. Hell in Cell apparently pay-per-view has been named to Ultimate Hell in Cell. I don't know why. Oh yeah, speaking of which, communist stuff, John Cena, and then we'll get to the interview. So John Cena said Taiwan's a country, and then a day later he apologized to the Chinese government. So he's giving in to the Chinese communist government. That sounds corporate, right? Speaking of which, right? Corporate Cena. You know what Cena should do? He should join the corporation. And Taiwan is a country, actually. It is a country. And now what's China gonna do? They're gonna oh, I have a friend on.
What up, homie?
Hey, man.
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, I'm just been talking about communist stuff.
Sorry, I had to freaking turn the wireless on. So what's good?
I'm good.
How's everybody doing?
I was just talking about North Korea, and then when I went to North Korea, then I meant to segue to the John Cena stuff because you heard about the John Cena stuff.
Nah, I've been cleaning my house and stuff all day. And you know how it is being an adult. You have to freaking clean everything. So
So yeah, John Cena said like yesterday or a day or two ago, said Taiwan's a country, and the Chinese didn't like it, so he apologized for that.
God, Cena. Man, that's why you don't talk politics and wrestling. It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Well, that's for his movie, right? For Fast 9.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you don't talk politics. You never do. I know a bunch of people who are wrestling fans that talk about politics and not much, just cleaning my house and stuff, getting ready for the last, and it's sad. It really
Yeah.
is. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but you never talk about politics with wrestling because people are so diverse. They're so different. You don't see people going and agreeing on the same subject. Like how you feel about the vaccination in Canada policy is different the way I feel about it in the US. You never you never discuss that stuff.
Hey, I feel you guys are doing much better than us. I mean, you're actually getting your second doses here. Well, we're probably starting to get our second doses soon because, like, in Ontario, over 60% of adults have their first dose, but like 4% or 5% have second doses.
As of today, I am fully vaccinated.
That's
I am
good.
so good on that. I don't want to go through the dizzy
Well,
spells all over again.
Massachusetts, from what I hear, Massachusetts is doing a very good job. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I know. And we're about to, and I know people in our community laugh at me, think it's funny. I mean, the comments I get about, Boston and SummerSlam, trust me, I get those. It's just that if you give WWE the opportunity to give Tampa Bay back Mania, shouldn't you do the same thing for Boston?
yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't it make more logical sense?
I think it's
Um,
safer. I don't trust some of the southern states right now. They're going to because
Believe it
their
or not,
vaccination rates are low.
I think the state of Boston has got the
North,
highest vaccination
yes,
coverage.
northeast in the U.S. is safer than the south in the U.S. with the vaccination
That
rates.
that tells you a lot about a lot of stuff, though. But just because this state itself has so many hospitals per capita, it's ridiculous, and the research facilities are so great. I mean, you have MIT and Harvard right
Yeah,
near each other, so it's not like none of them can't do the medical research. They're doing a ton. Plus, you have Pfizer here in our backyard. You have Johnson and Johnson. Some of their labs are in our
yeah,
backyard,
yeah.
so
The
it's
Moderna
a
is in the
lot
northeast
easier.
also. Moderna's in the northeast, but I think they're in Maryland. But still, like, still very good. I mean, California. You could do stuff in California because California is doing very well too in terms of the COVID because their positivity rate is like under 1 now.
It's interesting to see because especially where they're so excited to roll out for all the newer shows, the live shows that are coming up. I think July,
16,
next
I
month.
think.
Yeah.
The SmackDown before Money in the Bank, I think. It's the
So I
first one.
mean, it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I'm hoping they do something big because if people are saying, Boston's going to get it in 22 too, that's fine. But I want it this year because the city went and everybody's going to be like watching and be like throwback hijacked Aaron show. Um, but think of it this way, right? Last year when you and me were talking about all this, right, on Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, the city was getting hyped about and hoping to keep it because the economic impact it would have had on the city. They just built that big ass in Everett, Massachusetts, that huge casino that they have. They have 4 different casinos that are happening and in the state. They have one in Springfield, they have one in Everett, they have one in Plainview, and they're building another one somewhere. I can't remember where. But all the people that were staying for Mania would be staying at the Encore because it's literally Boston's the next town from Everett. It's literally like a 5-minute drive for Uber drive, or you just go on a boat and you're right there in the harbor. And that think about all the money for small businesses that it would have it impacted. Think about all the economic relief stuff for the government itself supplying for protection for police and stuff. If there were sporting events like Fenway, how the tie-ins could go into that. That's why when you look at Fenway, if they're going to keep going instead of doing like arena style stuff for SummerSlam, if they want to go big, what's bigger than Fenway?
I'm always I'm always there for having SummerSlam outside in the summer.
I mean, think about it. What would it be like to see Kevin Owens jump off
Fenway.
off
the Green
Monster? So
I know Mick Foley would do that.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I know.
I'll be right back. My doorbell just went off.
Oh. Yeah, see, so I know Nevada was originally supposed to get SummerSlam, guys. But the reports that it may not happen because of the Pacquiao fight or something like that the day before. And we'll wait for throwback, guys. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I agree. All I say is I always thought SummerSlam could be outside, in a baseball stadium or a football stadium. Yeah, and you got not only that, you also had NHL. I mean, you got a good team, hockey team. So I'm gonna when he comes back, I'm gonna talk about the Ultimate Warrior documentary. And then next week, guys, I'm gonna talk about the Dark Side of the Ring documentary on Ultimate Warrior, and we're gonna compare the two. And we're gonna go over and compare it to and go over them and say which one do you think is more legit. It's real. And that dark side of the ring of the Ultimate Warrior is this Thursday, guys. This Thursday. But before he comes back, oh, you're back?
Yeah, the neighbors because you know how light fixtures outside?
Yeah.
Well, the glass pane behind it's missing, so there's a bird's nest.
Oh.
So she's like, "Oh my god, the bird's gonna die if you turn it on." I'm like,
we haven't been turning it on though.
No, you haven't.
I don't think legally, I don't think we can change those.
Yeah.
I think we have to get HOA approval.
You're hearing all.
Who cares about Dana Warrior? Her and her lies. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, we're gonna talk
about the same.
Throwback. I know you're gonna talk about this on your show tonight, right? The Ultimate Warrior stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be sad too because this is the last Tuesday show ever in Wicked Crazy Pinfalls, and it's kind of somber too because it's one of those things I always thought we would be doing on Tuesdays, but when all the chaotic movement kind of happened, it was inevitable to move it. So tonight you'll see Aaron on literally making fun of Ray and Anakin like usual. I think Pluggo is going to be there, and we can make fun of him. But all these plugs. Speaking of Pluggo, and then tomorrow's the 1 year anniversary. So I mean, everybody's welcome to watch, and it's going to be fun. Me and Aaron are probably going to be making fun of Pluggo because of the special guest that's coming on. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to announce those after the show who will be on tomorrow. I got two major guests, which I'm very happy about. One of them is going to pop in, and the other one will be on. So it's going to be fun. I'm trying to reach out to one other person, but I'm going to text them, see if I can get a hold of them. But we'll see.
So yeah, okay. I'm looking for that. I'll be there tonight. I know, because I know Anakin wants to talk about Ultimate Warrior stuff on your show. But let's talk a little bit about it here. So when I got from this documentary, a lot of bullshit, a lot of defending on Ultimate Warriors, about him being why he was like a bigotry and racist stuff like that especially from his wife and stuff, blaming Rush Limbaugh for that stuff. Is that what you got from it too?
I thought it was ridiculous. I really did, just because of the fact that people know that saying goes is that there's two sides to every coin. So we see the guy who's the performer and then the guy who is the man. So it's and I get backlash for referring that phrase to another person we are not allowed in the community to say, but it's true. There's two sides to every person. So, and one we don't know behind closed doors, and the one that the public sees. The only difference is that if their character is outstanding in person and behind doors. So, like, a good example is that with me, what you see, this 6 feet 250 frame and the personality that comes with it, you get that in real life. This is not like me saying, hey, everybody come see my show, it's all this stuff. No, it's real. My opinions and all that stuff, everybody on your show, like right now, is the same way as mine. Everybody has their own thoughts.
Yeah, man. This stuff, clearly clearly this is WWE. A lot of stuff WWE got in there, wanted to make people misunderstand Warrior, which it's complete bullshit. From my sense from the preview and Dark Side of the Ring, they're not gonna bullshit Warrior. They're gonna tell the truth about Warrior. It's gonna be It's gonna be the truth about Warrior, and I hope they get wrestlers on that don't feel sorry for Warrior at all, man. Like, say what you feel. They got his ex-wife on. They got his ex-wife on.
You imagine Hogan?
Yeah. Can you imagine Bret Hart?
I want to see the interesting outlook, because a lot of people forget Warrior's history that he was a tag team partner with Sting in early in their career. So I mean, you could think of it this way. Both of their careers, when they worked with each other and they split differently and went their separate ways, it could have flipped. Sting could be in the Warrior spot and Warrior could be in the Sting spot. So I mean, it completely contorted, but it all happened for a reason.
That documentary they completely did not talk about his WCW stint, which is one of the worst things ever. I hope Dark Side of the Ring. I hope they got Bischoff talking about his WCW stint, because I remember like one interview Bischoff was talking about that stint when Warrior had a long ass promo in WCW that made no sense, and that match with Hogan and Havoc. And I hope
they're probably going to talk about WWE's that match at Mania that led up to the Intercontinental Championship and the WWE Championship being won. They're going to talk about a lot of the positive stuff, but they're also going to talk about the negative stuff too.
They're not going to bullshit around the negative stuff like this documentary did. They're not going to bullshit around that.
They're going to be like, I got my windows open. I'm waiting for someone to show up. It's going to be interesting, especially for me, because I grew up in that time. Like, I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 81. Everybody's still shocked you're not 40. Yes, I am. We did a show about that. Yes, true.
You did.
But I grew up in that era. I've been a fan of wrestling since I was the age of 4. So, and that's when the first ever Saturday Night Main Event came out. And then, literally since then, I had a Warrior T-shirt as a kid. Mm-hmm. I have a vintage Warrior WrestleMania T-shirt that has Warrior on it. That's in my room that I want to wear, but I'm like, if I wear that on air, what is the reaction? But it's different to hear all this stuff, and then it's one, like I said, it's one of those things you have to separate the career behind the man.
His ex-wife did say that when it was like a 2-minute preview, right, for the show, for the Dark Side version of the Warrior. Yeah, basically the Warrior lost. Well, Jim Hellwig was his name, right? He became Ultimate Warrior, and Ultimate Warrior took over the identity of Jim Hellwig. Jim Hellwig was dead, basically.
it happens. It's like your psychological aspect.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
me taking. Now you're up in my ballpark right now because of psychology, because of my psychology stuff in my degree. The deep part of your psychology and your psyche can sometimes not distinct between reality and basically what you see on your screen. So like all of this stuff, you might know me as Throwback, but Aaron knows me as by my real name.
Yeah.
So like it's different for people. Like I can have a 20-minute conversation in that group chat that we have with everybody, and everybody knows my real name, but on screen you guys don't. So there's the perception where it's like, do I become in psychologically, do I come Throwback 24/7? Do I do that? Or do I become who I am in reality? And that's the thing a lot of people don't know. I mean, in the community too, in the media part of it, look at Sean. A lot of people think he's one way when he's completely different.
Yes.
And he's such an amazing and nice and smart guy, but people think because of Twitter, they think he's one way. He's completely different. It's the same way with you. Everybody could think you're a certain way, Aaron, but you're literally not. You're literally the nicest guy in the community. I mean, look at Tim Trevor, who's an amazing dude. Give him props for promoting your show, my show, every show, everybody's show he likes and stuff like that. He puts them over like crazy. But because of him having a tag on Twitter saying the biggest heel, they'll think he's a royal,
Yeah. I mean, that's what this is why I have my first name, man, because I don't want to become, in for my YouTube name, I have my first name in it.
I mean, you know my real name.
Yes.
Yes. You're in the Facebook group for the Wicked Crazy Pinfalls. You're one of the admins. You have full reign to do whatever. And you, Pluggo, and everybody, I tell you guys to put your stuff in there, and we put friends and stuff like that in there. But as the years have gone by, I've become more private with a lot of things. Yeah. I'm open with everybody in the community. I'm open with people watching, because if it impacts me, I figure it'll impact others and it will make a bigger difference. Mental health, like the whole me having a nervous breakdown on air for an 18-minute show, and just me posting that stuff on Facebook, on Twitter, and just how I just have so much doubt. And now it's a lot better. It's controllable right now, not because of medication, because I'm taking it day by day where I wasn't planning on. There's a difference, because let's say psychologically, people can't understand the difference. And I think with him, he could not understand the difference between the character and who he is. And that's where, there's two sides to every coin. Now, I'm going to talk about this when Anakin brings this up, because I know people are going to listen to this and be like, you're regurgitating the same shit. I don't care. It's the truth. Psychologically, if you cannot distinguish between reality and the premise of all of this, where it's just smoke and mirrors sometimes, then there's something psychologically wrong with you, to the point where you do not gravitate between reality and non-reality things. It's like a good example. If someone, let's use Aaron, for example, since he's on screen with me. If Aaron was a huge Star Wars fan, huge, right? And walking around with lightsabers and stuff like that, and dressing all in the stuff like that, there's everybody be like, well, he's not distinctive. No, he's a fan. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But if he legally changes his name to Aaron One Kenobi or something like that,
there's people that do that. There's people that go that far.
I know that, or even go further than that. That's different. Like, I have a best friend.
Kevin Smith's daughter is Harley Quinn Smith.
I have a best friend who is huge into tattoos. She loves all the tattoos. She's gorgeous as hell. She's my best friend since I was a kid. And she understands the difference between reality and fiction. If I showed you a picture of her, you'd be like, wow, she's a model. I know her personally, so I know who she really is. So like a good thing is that there was an article on Twitch just recently, and this ties into what the whole psychological aspect of perception, because we talked about this on the show one time. We talked about perception, that people see something on Twitch, they believe that's how that person is, and it's not the case. We are looking at the perception between the character and the man rather than what we should be, whereas he was looking at like this is his reality and stuff. Look at Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik played his gimmick to a T. He literally was always Iron Sheik. He wasn't the real person.
Yep.
Some people can't blur the lines between reality and non-reality. And your mind goes into the depths where it's
back then it was very common because people back then would think Iron Sheik is really like that in real life.
Yeah, so it's like it meshes into each other. Yeah. But the difference is, and I can say this one, there is one person who did that but still maintained the reality of who he was, and that's Taker. Yeah, Taker played his character to a T 24/7, and he lived a little bit.
The biker Taker is more of his real life.
No, but I'm talking about when he was in his earliest career as Taker. He was living the gimmick, but the thing is that he was playing that fine line edge.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
he was being Undertaker in public and stuff like that, but behind doors with all the wrestlers and stuff, he's Mark Calloway. So that's where the gimmick dropped, and literally he still kept who he was, the same part of who he was. The problem is that some people go further than the line of reality, and they believe that's who they are.
Savage was like that too. With Warrior, Savage was like that too.
A good example too, and a lot of people don't point this out just because of how amazing he is, how great he is, how intellectually articulate he is Mick Foley. And the reason being I use Foley as an example is the guy had 3 personas.
Yep.
No, 4 personas. He had himself.
Yep.
Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind. So those 3 characters, including who he is a good example of being creative, but leaving the creative side out the door. And then when he needed to pick those 3 guys out, which he used Cactus and Mankind a lot more than he used Dude Love towards the tail end of his run, that he literally incorporated all of them and became who he is. And I'm most excited for that documentary for A&E for his biography on Sunday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's going to be hard for us.
Especially
it's double or nothing at the same time.
Yeah, so. Especially with the announcement of his daughter being sick and stuff like that, like her having a disorder and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Noah Foley?
Yeah, she announced it, I believe, a disorder, talking about how, how you have that ringing in your ear constantly? There could be a disorder where it's constant, it's nonstop, it hurts. So I believe she has that. We'll look that up, but I thought I read something like that. But I'm excited to see what he says. Taker starts flipping out about it. It's just it's hard to do that, to distinct between reality and stuff like that.
This is true. Josh has a good point, because back especially in the 80s, 70s, the wrestlers in the early 90s, they did live their gimmick inside and out of the ring, and for some wrestlers, it did make them become their actual gimmick. Like Savage was like that, Warrior was like that.
Flair was with a lot of the stuff, but he could, when he was home, he could control it, but when he was out there, and he even said he'd rather be on the road a lot more than he was home.
Yes. See, some wrestlers can't control it. A lot of them can. Like Hogan still talks like brother when he's his real life, but he doesn't act like Hulk Hogan of the 80s and early 90s. Look at Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. As Diesel, they don't talk like their gimmicks as Razor Ramon or Kevin Nash. Is this character driven wrestlers? Like the Warrior, he did live his gimmick, right? But off screen, he was never Warrior at all. He's a villain.
I'm literally gonna time this tonight and watch how much you go off. on Anakin tonight. But
Well, what's Anakin gonna say? Like,
I've been reading that we have a group chat. If you guys don't understand,
Oh, yeah.
and let's just say this much: there's 12 people in that thing, so there's 12 personalities going in that. So it's going to be interesting, and I think that chat's probably going to be growing eventually to add a couple of more people.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to have the stuff we talk about. Like me and Pluggo, we're dressing up tomorrow. That we're going to look really sharp tomorrow, and then everybody's going to be just like ball caps and stuff like that. I'm just like,
so yeah, so next week when I do my wrestling shows, I'm gonna compare the two documentaries with each other.
I think you should do. And this is just what we'll do tonight too, is that we'll do a psychological comparison between the person compared to it, because
We know the person.
the one person's name I could say all this, but I'm not allowed to in the community. You could do the same for that person, but I think that comparison's way out the door. But with Warrior, it's a good comparison.
Yeah. I was going to end the show around now usually, but I have the stuff to talk about. So, this past weekend, what did you like from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, or Raw last night? I mean, the matches I thought on Raw were good. I think the matches were actually pretty good. The Naked Cross with Ripley, yeah, that's stupid. But the other matches, the main event was stupid, but the other matches in between are actually pretty good.
I think Nikki and Ripley were actually really good, and it's not from a match or anything standpoint. I think if you put, okay, let me put it this way: Sanity with Nikki in it, really good.
Yeah,
when she was in it.
With Alexa
Rhea
too.
as herself, really good. So if you put Nikki in the situation where Rhea is having her with her as somebody along, kind of like the Dana Brooke kind of thing, but not in that mold, I think for TV sake and story sake, with everybody trying to keep these tag team matches fresh, that could keep Nikki fresh. It could keep her on TV. So them forming something where they could call the Insane Nightmare or something like that, because for me, it's heartbreaking. I love Nikki Cross. I think she's one of the best. I do believe, is unlike the popular aspect, I think she deserves a women's title match in some way, shape, or form. And if it doesn't come up through, WWE's two main shows, I think NXT is where she needs to be. And give her like a title shot right off the bat.
When I watched the stuff of Rhea Ripley yesterday, I don't know if she's once again, I don't know if she's a baby face or a heel, because
that's the best though. That's the best. It doesn't have to be defined with her.
But with Charlotte, when she's facing Charlotte, she has to be the baby face, right? Like, Charlotte's the ultimate heel. Even the heel women don't like Charlotte.
I think the best part for Raw for me is that they're doing something now with the people that they never did with. Nikki, they did something with her. They're using Kofi as a singles competitor, which Kofi is deserved.
I would like to see a triple threat match.
I think we're heading towards a fatal four-way at Hell in the Cell, and I think the fourth person hasn't even been announced yet. Now, if my gut is telling me the way things are going to go, I think Cena's coming back, and I think we're going to have him and Drew go at each other and having Drew with the title, because they're wanting to give Cena that opportunity to beat the record. But who are you? And they're not going to make Cena go heel. So I mean, the only person in this whole situation, and Drew, you're starting to see it now, is Drew. You see the evolution of Drew going back to 2019.
Hey, Josh, you know what? Hell in a Cell has a stronger build than the next takeover, because there's no build for the next takeover, and that's like 2.5 weeks. That's like a week before Hell in a Cell.
I see that they're more focused on Raw right now than they are on NXT, because they have the talent to do so. I think for me, being a fan of NXT, I think I popped a lot more with the North American title match with Bronson Reed, as I've been saying for a long time, probably for almost over a year since I saw him. That big boy, very big boy. is going to be North American champion, and I was right, but I thought it would be sooner rather than later. But I'm happy for him because of the fact that he kept his nose to the grind, kept trying, waited. And for me, that and Balor. And plus, did you see the interview Ryan Satin did with Finn?
No.
It was very, very in-depth about who him and the characters are and stuff like that. He did quote say, and this is why I'm excited for NXT, never say never to seeing the Demon again, because the Demon will pop up eventually. It was also said that he is great. One of the greatest moments he had in NXT, which I saved this because I wanted to clip it, but I can't, is him losing the match at a house show in Lowell. And that happened, and I was so kicking myself still for it. But that him giving it, dropping the belt to Joe at that time was a big deal, because it made people wanting to go to NXT, because you never know what could happen. You know, Bayley could have dropped the title to Carmella in, you know, Sioux Falls, Iowa, or something like that at a house show, or, you know, you could have gone to Bayley's hometown and on a house show and then traveling out there and she lost the belt or something like that. You know, it made NXT more wanting. And I think with them either staying at Full Sail for the time being or wanting to travel, I think
they'll tour again soon.
I think it's better for them to do the shows at Full Sail Live. But I think if they're going to do...
Actually, I think the Demon did do this once.
I don't think I think so, but I'm not sure. But if they are going to travel like they are with the main roster, I think they need to do it on special occasions.
Yes.
Takeovers only on takeovers. And then maybe a couple of house shows here and there. Throw one. If they're in Boston, throw like a pop-up hidden show like a Concha would here in my backyard in Lowell, or, you know, do it somewhere and not just have NXT talent, but intricate something from the indie scene, the local scene, like Chaotic Wrestling. Bring Chaotic in for a one show and have their champion go against the North American champion and see who's the best, and call it and bill it the Battle of the Bay, Boston Bay or something. You know, not only do something to pay it forward for the industry to develop future talent that you're looking at.
Yes. That's
but
what these NXT
also use NXT as and let NXT use these as springboards to get people for WWE to get eyes on. I mean, it's interesting to see all this stuff, but I think NXT for me was a big deal, especially the way it ended with Cross and Balor tonight going for the title.
Yeah, you think Balor's going to win?
I think they're going to keep it with Cross.
Yeah, me too. I think Cross is going to win.
I think. Because Balor hasn't won the North American title, I
may change my prediction, but I still think Cross is going to take. I think it's going to be a no contest. I
think they're going to push this further into Takeover.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying.
Into a bigger deal. But I think that eventually what's going to happen is that Finn's going to go for the North American Championship, and once they could start traveling and the UK opens, especially with the rumor going around with the UK product, with a huge name supposedly rumored going in there from Cultaholic saying it because it flashed through my screen when I was looking at YouTube stuff.
I know for the women it's Bea Priestley.
Will Ospreay is rumored to go to UK.
Hopefully the neck heals in time, because his girlfriend's going to his fiance Bea Priestley is going to NXT UK too. Yeah,
so I mean, you're going to end up either doing two things with that UK title, and we'll talk about that real quick. Is that you're either going to have Ospreay win a very 100%.
Yeah, Will Ospreay could win. Will Ospreay could win the title from Walter,
and then you're going to end up doing one of two things. You're either going to put Walter in NXT's mainstream,
yes,
but have Balor win the match and have Balor become the NXT champion, go against Walter, and basically have Walter hijack the NXT title and keep it overseas.
Fightful did say yesterday in the Select that This is actually the main roster stuff, but some might thought that the main roster will get some, not just NXT call-ups, but NXT UK call-ups.
Yeah, that's how good they are.
Yeah. And what do you think from NXT or NXT UK they would call up? I think from NXT, I think Tony Storm's gonna get a call up.
I think NXT UK. There's only one person in the women's division
Kaylee Ray.
other than Piper. Yeah, there's only her and Piper Niven that have been there for a while.
I think Kaylee Ray's gonna lose the title to Samamura. Is their name Miko Samamura? I think she's gonna lose the title there.
I think that she's going to pull what Paige pulled. And I think that would be more understandable because Asuka lost the title for injury. She didn't lose it for anything. Let Kaylee Ray go into a setup where she gets a shot at one of the women's titles and wins it and then has to relinquish it. Because that way, if you have somebody beat her after how hard she's worked, everybody's like, well, the title wasn't defended for about 6-7 months. I don't care. Just let her gracefully bow out because she's been that workhorse in that division and let her run a title. Now, you can't have to give her the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship. Bianca's doing an awesome job. Rhea's doing an awesome job on the Raw side. Raquel needs somebody who's credible and a threat. So,
Yes,
as much as Kaylee Ray is her size, I think she'll get the call up from the UK. But I think she's going to go to NXT first to give Raquel an actual threat. Now, I want to see like Raquel versus Ember Moon for something or just a match because they've never crossed paths that I'm aware of.
They have.
But
they have crossed paths. Raquel won.
No, I'm talking about Ember and Kylie Ray.
Oh no, Kylie Ray no. Yeah. Well,
I want to see Kylie Ray just basically, not lose the title and just be like all upset about it as a natural heel. I want her to be like, okay, I have better opportunities. But I want to see like Kylie Ray versus Ember Moon. We've had her go against Dakota Kai, I believe. I want to see matches that are interchanged and stuff. Plus, Tegan's going to be coming back probably by the end of the year. So that would be an interesting match. And plus, as much as everybody's like WWE has too many titles, they could set up a secondary women's title that's not the tag titles and eventually down the line. I know I'm going to get my ass chewed out for this.
Right, I agree with you. The tag team titles are not necessary in NXT.
So, I mean, having like a North American version of a women's title, it would make more sense.
Yeah.
And give them another chance to have a mid-card title. If you're going to treat each brand by themselves, each brand deserves
that women's division NXT is stacked. Actually, I don't blame you for having the idea of a second women's title. It's not the NXT women's tag team titles. I don't blame you for that idea because that division,
it is literally getting extremely close to not argue that Impact and WWE's NXT division, not the main rosters, is literally the best two divisions, 1 and 2, A1 and 2, literally inches away from each other. NXT is to Impact, just as quality talent. But the thing is that separates them two is the stories and stuff like that. And Impact is more intricate with it. They're trying to create new stars constantly, whereas there's so much talent coming from the PC side of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm worried about with NXT because they have so much talent. Like, look at the wrestler, the women's side. Toni Storm, Ember Moon, Shotzi Blackheart, Candice LeRae, even Indy Hartwell's getting up there. Raquel, Dakota Kai. Who else? Then Zoe Stark. Now they got Frankie Monet, Tyra Valkyrie. I was Tyra Valkyrie, Frankie Monet. I mean, and I'm sorry. And if they integrate someone from the NXT UK like Kaylee Ray, Jenny Piper Niven, Isaiah Dawn.
I mean, the women's division across the board is stacked between both brands of NXT.
Yes.
What I think they need for the NXT UK other than who they have. They need somebody who can actually stand up and set up their own version of the four
Here,
horsemen.
Josh. I know you disagree, but here's the point. Those tag team titles could have been defended in NXT. They were allowed to defend.
It should have. They were only defended twice, like 3 times.
They specifically said
compared
that.
to the main roster between both main rosters.
They specifically said in the Origins of Tag Team titles that back in 2019, these tag team titles would be defended in NXT. They originally said
it's only been done 3 times.
Yeah. And since they botched it with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai losing to Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, they had to make them the first tag team titles just to lose it an hour later against Shotzi Blackheart and what's her name, Ember Moon, because just to introduce Raquel Gonzalez into a feud of Io Shirai for the women's NXT title, which there's no need to put the tag team titles on Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai in the first place if they just want to introduce that feud for Raquel Gonzalez to become the NXT champion. There was women's champion. There was no point in putting those tag team titles on those 2. That was stupid.
Well, I'm gonna bow out gracefully, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna end soon.
I have to.
So
get ready for
end actually right now. So NXT preview: Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross for NXT Heavyweight Championship. I'm like with throwback here. No title change. I think it might be a no contest. Because I do agree with them that they're gonna have another title match at next Takeover.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll still be fun to watch.
And yeah, so throwback. Tell me where they can find you.
Well, it's kind of a somber day here at Throwback HQ. We are literally doing our last Tuesday show. Now, as of tomorrow, we will be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Wicked Crazy Pinfall Show. I'm going to retweet and re-release, share it out, the first 39-minute episode of the show. I'm not going to do it live because it doesn't make sense. But if you guys want, come by tonight, youtube.com/throwback27. And then hit the Twitch stuff, twitch.tv, throwback978. Just come by, see Aaron, see all of us. We're going to be having fun. You never know what might happen tonight. You might see something crazy happen. That's why the title of the show is. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at throwback978. Just come by, hang out with us, and then hang out with us tomorrow. And then you never know. Aaron might hijack the show Thursday night. We have the original first guest ever for Thursday night show. We are going to be on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock before Warren Hayes. And we're bringing back the first original guest from the show. Nice. You know who he is. He's a good friend of ours. And him doing so much what he's done for Shooting the Sportage and Fightful, I'm happy that Rob will be able to come on the show again. And he's got a lot to say, he says. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be there, man. I'll be there tonight. I mean, there's a lot of things I've been watching tonight, like NXT, and I'm watching at least playoff game at the same time. Up 2-1 against Montreal.
I'm happy that the Bruins are in there now. They did it 4-1.
We have a sure hatred for the Canadians.
Sunday was the 2-year passing of my mom, and I wore my Bruins jersey at my friend's house, so it was really nice. So for me tonight, I'm just going to sit and wear my Glavin jersey. I took it off because cleaning and stuff like that. I don't want to get it ruined. But I'm going to wear my Glavin jersey with my Braves hat, and then tomorrow I'll be dressing up, and then I might look at that footage and see which jersey I was wearing on the first show and kicking off the next year in that jersey. So
yeah, okay. So I'm gonna plug myself. Thursday, I'm bringing back my pop culture show, and there's a lot of things to talk about in pop culture. But also, unfortunately, if my package came earlier today, I would have showed you some stuff I got. I just got delivered today. Unfortunately, I haven't picked them up yet because I'm in a condo and I have to go down, and they came in during the show, and I don't want to leave during the show. And it's actually wrestling related too. But I'll show you guys on Thursday what they are. But I'll give you a preview. This guy's giving me it's a Funko Pop. This guy, one of the Funko Pops. is the great one, and you know who the great one is. Now I'm not talking Wayne Gretzky, people. And the other one is Atticus' favorite women's wrestler, and we all know who that is too.
Becky Lynch, yeah.
Yeah.
So before we sign off, I wanted to ask you a quick question because I don't know when I'm going to be on again. What do you think about the leaks of the Pixel series, the new phones coming out? There've been a ton of leaks coming out about the Pixel 5a and the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6.
I haven't really checked it out, man. I'll check that out. What do you think? I mean,
I think the specs are going to be interesting. They're staying away from the Snapdragon chip. They're hoping, from what I've been reading, is that they're hoping to have the release in October, if not maybe early November, which works for me because I'm going away for 17 days. So, but for me, I'm more excited about the Pro. I have the 4XL, which is having technical problems, so they set me a new one. But it's interesting to see how things are going. Instead of going to where they're going, the XL, they're going to a Pro. The camera style is supposed to be a lot more in depth. With Android phones themselves, they're going to iOS 12 for their system, for their Android system, for the Google system, which looks really interesting. I mean, think about it. If I come visit you and I have no clue where to go for staircases, I can just pull my Google Maps up and it'll tell me where the staircase is.
Yeah. So I'm thankful for having you on, and I'm gonna end the show. So we did plug our stuff. I mean, I might have Anakin on my show Thursday, so I might show him the Becky Lynch Funko Pop. So yeah.
You should.
And so yeah, thank you for coming on once again. And before I let you guys go, this is how I feel about you guys.
Too sweet. Too sweet. Too sweet.
Only Aaron. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, guys, and thank you for listening.